Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be building a very simple application. It's just going to fetch from an API a random motivational quote, and then it's going to display on the screen the quote and then the author of that quote. So you see the finished product is right here. Here's the quote and then who it's by. In this case, it's Karen Clark. If I just do a refresh on the page here, say I get some other kind of quote. We can only learn to love by loving. Iris Murdoch. I don't know if I said that right. We'll just do one more refresh here. And we get another quote by Buddha. So very simple application, and we'll get started now. So first thing I'm going to do here, I've run npx create React app, and I'm just going to do some general kind of cleanup that you'll have to do if you're creating a React app in general. Just delete some of these files here. Delete. So now we only have app.js, index.css, and index.js, and I removed the web vitals from this file. Okay, so we're going to create this entire app just in the app.js. That's the only place we'll need to be. We'll just do RAFCE, click tab to create that code snippet here, and we're going to get going here. So first thing I'm going to do is create two different pieces of state, and they're just going to reference basically our only two things that we have on our web page. So this quote and then the author of quote. So we'll const quote set quote equals use state, and then it's going to be an empty string. I'll make sure that this state imports here by clicking this. So now we got it up here and on line 1 pulling in that use state from React. We'll double this up here and we'll just go author of quote set author of quote. A little long of a variable name, but whatever. So you'll see this app is very simple. All it's going to be doing is on page load, we're going to use effect. It's going to pull in some data, and that data we want is that random quote along with the author that corresponds with that quote. So the way we're going to do this here, we're going to set up a use effect, which is going to run when our app loads. And we'll create a use effect here. Get the right syntax in here. We're just going to make sure that it auto loads in here by clicking on use effect here. And then we're going to use the fetch API. So we're going to go fetch, and then we're going to put into the string. This is the API that we're going to hit. https://type.fit/API/quotes. Now I need to say this. I'm not exactly sure who built this API. Shout out to them. So thanks for building it. But the thing is, if you create this app or if you code as you go, which I recommend doing, so I'm not guaranteeing it's going to be around forever. So after that, we're going to use then chaining. And the first purpose of this then chaining is to change that data into JSON data, which we'll be able to see and then manipulate to get our application working or looking the way that we want. So it's just then res return res.json. And then the next part is going to be another .then, taking in the data, just a variable name we're creating there, a parameter name. And then we're going to open this up with some curly braces so we have more room. First thing we're going to do is console.log the data. Now we're going to save, and we're going to do a quick check to make sure we hit the API correct. We have all the syntax correctly set up here. So we'll open up a terminal, run npm start, and then our app now should be live on our local host. So we'll go inspect in our browser, go to the console, and great, this is working. As you can see, we're getting this array back with 16 elements. So it's a small API. And then each object here has the author as well as the text, which is very simple and it's great. This is what we want on the screen right now. So now that we're hitting that API correctly, let's get the data that we want into the corresponding state variables that we want. So I'll exit out of our developer tools here. And we're going to go back into here and we're going to go creating a variable in order to, we're using object destructure and creating, I guess, two variables actually, in order to extract the exact parts of that JSON object that we want. So we're going to use object destructuring with curly braces. Text author, that's going to basically get data or variables one layer deep in that JSON object. And we're going to go, the data is going to be at a specific index, but actually to make this simpler to understand, I'll create one variable above here on the line above, and this is going to represent the index that we want to grab the variable at. So we'll go random index equals math.floor, and then timesing that by math.random, invoking that with the parentheses there, times 16. So what this is going to represent is a number between 0 and 15, which is going to be great for their index. So we want the data at a random index. So what this means is every time we load our page, we're going to get the data is going to be at like the index of 0 or the index of 12 or something, and that's going to make it update on our page as a random quote every time. So we'll do a quick console log to make sure this is working like we think it is. And by the way, console logging is a great way to learn what you're doing as you're coding, and also make sure you're not making any mistakes, so you don't like do 100 lines of code without realizing you made a big mistake. So this is good. We're getting the text here, fate is in your hands, or whatever this is saying. And then we're also getting the author, but you'll see the author is actually, I should move my little picture of my head away there, but see the author actually is this Byron Pulsifer plus this type.fit, which is just I think like a way to promote their website or something. And we only actually want the name of this Byron person. So we'll do one more variable here. We will go new author, and we're going to be using this normal author that we have, and then we're going to go splitting it at this comma, so this comma here, and this author.split is going to now create an array, and the array is going to have, in this case, just two items inside of it. We only want the first index, so that's 0. And so now if we get rid of this author and we console.log text and then new author, we'll save, refresh. And so now we don't get that type.fit. You see, we get this is the quote here. Nothing happens unless first we dream. And then the author, Carl Sandburg. And you see, we're getting two actually console logs. That's just a quirk of the way we've set this up with create React app in React, but that's not a big deal for now. So now we've got those variables representing what we want. We'll get rid of this console log, and we want to update now our state variables with the text and the new author. So this quote here, an author of quote, we'll go set quote is quote, and set author of quote to new author. So now these state variables should be representing the data we want, the quote and the new author as well. And we'll check that by seeing if our data outputs in our JSX correctly. We'll close these developer tools here as well. So we'll just create two more sets of div tags here. And first one is going to be the quote. And the second one is going to be author of quote. Now we'll save the file. It should automatically reload and see where actually something's going wrong here. So I know the first thing is going wrong is I forgot to put this second argument to this use effect array. And simple as just putting an empty array. So now the app will only re-render one time. So now good, we're not getting that automatic re-rendering a bunch of times. And I got to figure out what exactly I did wrong here. And so you'll see here, this quote is not outputting onto the screen. Of course not, because I used the wrong variable name here. I don't know what I was thinking. I put quote, but it's actually supposed to be this text. And so now we'll save our file. And great, we're getting now the quote and the author, so that's great. Final step we're going to do before we're done is we're going to do some old school inline styling just to move the app into the middle of the page so it looks a little bit better. Again, it's going to be incredibly minimal styling, but I don't want to spend too much time doing styling on at least this video. So we're going to go style, double curly braces in order so that in React this will output, display, and then we need to put this in a string different than regular CSS. Display in strings grid. We'll go comma, place items using camel case, center, another comma, this is the final property, height in string 50 VH. We'll do a save, and then now we're getting awesome, our quote and the author. So we'll do another refresh, quote, author. One more time, we'll just do a refresh with the keyboard. Quote, and then see this, actually this is like a, sometimes you'll get this, I think this quote just doesn't have an author, or it's just like them trying to get advertising for their website, which is fine. We'll do another refresh, so good. Genius, blah, 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 Thomas Edison. So this is working fine. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.